Sir, Professor Jitendra, sir, I think you can go ahead and start, sir.
Sure, sure. I can do that. I'll do that.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir.
Thanks. Hey, good evening, everyone. Let me just kind of, yeah. So we have standard questions that all ask you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see.
yeah. Thanks. Okay, so I think today's discussion is more to really understand what are trends in marketing and how trends in marketing and I guess since most of you are freshers, hopefully this will help kind of give you a perspective of what to expect from industry when you'll start looking out for you know employment opportunities in different companies. Yeah, I've titled this presentation as marketing reimagined, why marketers must change now. uh, so we'll try and see in the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes, we'll try and really find out what does this change, how things have moved, what was it earlier. Hopefully, in a bargain, giving you all a kind of review uh, that would try and give you a kind of a holistic view of how marketing is being looked at. Yeah. So just one disclaimer I want to just state before I start and get into the discussion. One is, honestly, I didn't know what to really speak to you about, right? So I said, let me try and address it from a marketer's perspective. All the views that I've put in here are basis my experiences, excepting a few slides where I've um, you know borrowed from a blog that I read a few days ago. If it helps you get a perspective of from the career choices you want to make, fantastic. Do listen, get as much insights as possible. There's no need to take notes because this is not really a lecture, but more from an information and an insight perspective. And please do go ahead and ask questions. Yeah. So before I go ahead, I don't. Yeah, if it was a Zoom call, then I would have said answers in the chat window because then I can see it. But unfortunately, Google Meet has got a little bit of a, it's a little unfriendly that way. So just take 2 minutes. I know there are not many of you all on the call, so fantastic. That gives me a greater opportunity to interact with you all. So take 2 minutes and tell me what do you think has changed or shifted in marketing. And please be verbal about it. You can unmute yourselves and tell me what do you think has changed or shifted. No, nobody wants to take a even a wild guess. Okay, I take it that either you don't want to answer or not aware. So fair enough. So let's go back to possibly around the time that I started working, which is about 25 years ago. And before the internet, marketers were really guardians of the brands. And when I say guardians of the brand, it basically means that they were the custodians, right? And it was the marketing head who controlled a lot of what the brand had to say, how it said it, where it was said, and whom it was addressed to, and things like that. And I'm talking at least about before 2000, even 20 years ago, even before 20 years ago. Yeah. Just possibly around the time things were starting to open up. And I think it was then that marketing was kind of looked at as a very, I don't know, I won't call it a strategic function, but it was more a function that I think we're really focused really on typical, in a very typical sense, in a way. I think it focused more on brand building. Yeah, from a very book perspective. Marketing then was done by the book, and since it was uh, driven by marketers, it was driven by brand custodians. And while some brands like a Britannia or a Hindustan Lever did go out and try and do research and stuff like that, and brands did research, but at best, it was very intuitive. And when I say intuitive, it is while there was some amount of insights that they got from the marketplace, but a lot of the decisions taken were gut feeling or saying, I think this is what will work best. And then things would go out, things would be implemented. Evaluation, if the brand was willing to do evaluation or wanting to learn from the campaigns, then it would be done, and corrections were then incorporated. But at best, marketing was very intuitive, which means that it didn't really follow a set, or even today, it doesn't follow a really set. But at least today, the way it is done is very, very different. Those days, brands spoke down to its consumers. So basically, language use, the way ads were, kind of even the type of communication, the language used, whether it was, and most of it obviously was print. TV for a long time was only Doordarshan, but only I think to the late 90s was when satellite TV started coming in with the channels like Star and especially Star getting launched. And then once Star got launched, there were a lot more. The entire thing just opened up, and for a lot more satellite channels to really flood the marketplace. Today you have, I think, over 600 channels. But then this is what consumers had, or this is what brand custodians, brand or marketing heads had at their disposal to really reach out to consumers. So it was mainly print, it was radio. Radio also was very limited to possibly all India radio and nothing else. It's only, I think, during the late 90s and early 2000s that FM radio started making its presence felt. TV was initially only Doordarshan, but then again, around the same time, satellite TV started operations here with Star, and then things progressed. But the kind of advertising that was done was more as if, what it was basically telling people what buy now, do this, do that. It was just information being carpet bombed at the target audiences, which meant that advertising really at times was brash and very intrusive. So you opened this paper and you had tons of ads lying there. You switch on your TV and you just had TV commercials that were just including even during, say, possibly a very exciting one-day international, and suddenly Doordarshan would switch it off. For those days, even Star would just go off for about 30, 40 seconds or 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then those commercials would play. Yeah. And by the way, this also, the intrusion and the way even print ads, I think even still happens today, because India that way is still a very strong print and TV market. And because of all this, and because there was no technology, communication was at best one way. It was just one way. So it was just brands talking to consumers or prospective audiences, and then that's it. Yeah, the responses were far and few between. Yeah, there was possibly just some options when internet came in. A couple of email IDs were published, but then that was it. It was very, very rustic and very, very basic at that way. But the internet has changed all of this. Yeah, I think we know what has really happened the moment internet came. While internet in the US has been around at least for the last 50, 60 years through different forms. but in India, I think it was much later. It came in much later. Yeah. And because of the internet and because of the advancements of technology, today consumers have also become very vocal in their communication with brands. So today, you and me also have become broadcasters. Yeah. It is no more left whether you want to do citizen kind of journalism, whether you want to just pick up something and then write about it. You had a bad experience somewhere. Today, consumers go ahead and do it. So two-way communication is kind of just kind of opened up. And all this was possible because 25 years ago, internet came into India with a company called VSNL, which is Videsh Sanchar Nigam Limited, with offering very basic, very dial-up connections. And you never knew where I think the biggest file that you could send was just about 1 MB and things like that. Yeah. And you never know how long that connection would last. But yes, it came. India adapted to it. But the real change really happened, I think, about 15 years ago. Sometime about 2005, 2004, 2005, when possibly the first e-commerce companies started operations. And just to give you a kind of a perspective on how things have rapidly changed, in the year 2009, the iPhone was just a 2-year-old brand. I think 3GS was the model then, and it was a big thing. Yeah. Android was just about getting its foot together. It was just about starting to take its first tottering steps in the mobile space. And Samsung's S9110 was the only smartwatch. So in the last 11 years, what's the kind of development that has already happened? And a lot of it, I think you all have experienced because you all have lived a lot in this time space. The big shift, even before we really understand what changes took place in marketing, we really understand what is the big shift that really happened. Yeah. And for that, there has been a tectonic shift in the way business is being done. So change one, what really happened? A huge, massive shift in the way business is being done. Earlier, it was very product centric, and that's why brands spoke down to consumers even until recently. Yeah. But today, the business model itself has changed from product centric to platform centric. And what does this really mean? How does it really manifest when I say product centric to platform centric? Yep. All of this was possible because of technologies like AI, machine learning, and deep learning. And of course, technologies are even getting added on as we speak. And this, while it has been AI and machine learning, by the way, has been around for a long time, at least for the last 8-10 years. It's not something that's very new. Though I think it's only in the last couple of years that it's found a lot of voice. There's a lot of decibels around the terms like AI and machine learning, but it's been around for a long time. Google Maps is something that's been using AI and machine learning for a long time now, and deep learning for about at least the last 7-8 years, if not more. So has a lot of other applications. Yeah. So all of this obviously has happened because the advancements of technology. And what really happened, the product centric to a platform centric? What does it really mean? Yeah. So earlier there were regular theaters. Those regular theaters became multiplexes. Today you have Netflix. Yeah. Earlier you had taxis, you had cabs for hire. Today you have Uber. You have Target, which is a large department store, and today you have Amazon. Of course, in India you have Ola Cabs and you have Flipkart, and all of these are platform-centric businesses. Yeah. Even a Book My Show or a Make My Trip are all platform-centric businesses, which means basically these are platforms which brings consumers and businesses together and allows them to buy and sell on their platform, right? So any questions, please stop and ask. Otherwise, we can take the questions towards the end. And as we go forward, there'll be a lot more platform-centric business coming in. Some of them will be omni-channel, some of them will be hyper-local, and so on and so forth. But that's more from business perspective. Yeah. So the second change that really happened in the last 10, 15 years, and obviously because the advent of internet, with platform-based businesses, social media access, cloud-based email services, customers are leaving massive data footprints inside cyberspace. Yeah. Today, I think the amount of surfing that we do on the net, or time we spend on the internet, really is quite phenomenal. And all of this the time that you spend is leaving certain data points about your behavior. As more of marketing becomes digital, it is also easier to track the customer journey from awareness to acquisition. And what really happened is brands are now realizing the potential this footprint has got. And they're now obviously leveraging technology to use this footprint to leverage on this data that is available to really study customer journeys from awareness to acquisition. Brands defining business around the customers and not products and competitors. So when I ask you the question, take 2 minutes to really tell me what is the shift that has happened in marketing. This is the shift that has happened in marketing. Brands are no more talking about or making their business all about the product. Today, it's about the customer. It's not about competition. It's about your product. You're the customer. Who is your customer? How well do I know my customer? What is the kind of experience I'm giving him? Yeah. How is he shopping for my brand? How is he looking for my brand? And I'll also kind of discuss, I've not put it on the slide, but I'll also discuss one great case study of how one particular brand became very successful in a cluttered market. Yeah. It's all about customer centricity. Customer behavior is changing. The way you shop, the way you think, the way you use technology is very different. Yeah? And different ways of saying to the customer. So each customer is different. There are customers in different age groups use technology very differently. Yeah. So how are brands really mapping all of this and using all of this to engage with the customer in a lot more relevant and a lot more personalized way? Yeah, customer centricity. Today it's all about customer centricity. And one of the things that something that you will relate to, and I'm sure you will agree, customers don't want to feel like that they're being sold to anymore. They want to feel like the brand is on their side. It's no more about talking down. Brands cannot talk down to people. How many of you receive messages, possibly you've gone once, say possibly to a department store like a Central and shop? I'm assuming that most of you are from Bangalore and know the brand Central, but if you have gone and shop in Central sometime and you've given your mobile number and you've enrolled as part of the loyalty program, you'll start getting bombarded with very generic messages. 50% off, 40% off, come buy your favorite brand. Yeah. Nothing is relevant. You don't want to be told when you should come and buy. You'll come and buy when you're ready. And that's what brands are now trying to understand and track. Yeah. And if knowing that information obviously makes the brand that much more, what should I say, more aware of what their customers are thinking and how to communicate with the customer. And if I, as a brand owner, as a brand custodian, then start engaging you with communication that's far more relevant and personal, you will feel far more, your experience itself starts changing. So today's marketing shows consumers how the brand's product or service makes their lives better. It's not just about saying buy. Why should you buy? Today, OnePlus had only a certain kind of a model of phones, but 4 months back they launched something called a OnePlus Nord, which suddenly opened up a very new segment. So how does that product kind of change a customer's life for the better? Yeah. Or how can during the pandemic, what happened? Suddenly, a lot of people who were working in offices were told, now you have to work from home. Yeah, things changed, right? People didn't have proper infrastructure. Of course, some people who could afford it started looking for options to say how can I improve and make my workspace at home and make it far more comfortable for me. Yeah. So things like that. So brands started trying to address that problem. I'm using COVID as an example because it's pretty recent and it's pretty vivid in everybody's mind. There's a new approach that brands are taking. It's not just about customer service, it's not just about product, it's about customer centricity. It's very purpose driven. You're anticipating customer needs. Everything is around customer experience. How can I, across my touch points, whether the customer is coming to a website or my social media pages or going to the store, what kind of an experience am I giving that customer? Can I make it seamless? Can I make it, in a way where he feels that the brand is really his for the asking? I'm going to take inputs from the customer and then start developing products accordingly. That's the future. It's more transparent. It's more, how can I get it right? It's about not necessarily you have to be perfect, but I can be a little more, should I say, flawsome, right? It's okay, but as long as I engage with the customer in the right way. So going forward, what really brands do? What should? Having said this, having understood the kind of changes that's happening in the marketplace, and with brands slowly starting to focus on customers. So what are brands focusing on? What should brands focus on? One, data. There is tons of data today. Today you have tons of data lying in cyberspace. You know what customer my if people are following me the brand on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever, you know what they're doing, what they're liking, what are the other brands they're liking, right? You know his moment. If a customer comes to my website, I can track that customer as he moves across. He's come to the website, he's seen certain products, but he's not shopped. I can track him, I can follow him and say, hey, you know what? Keep buying. How many times have you logged in? Have you possibly gone to, say, a Myntra, just surfed around, and then moved away from that without buying? And you open up, say, suppose you Google to search for something else, and you'll see a Myntra ad come up. Or you on your phone, you've kind of maybe doing something, searching for something, or you're speaking to somebody and you say, hey, you know what, I want to go on a holiday, and you open Facebook and you find an ad for holiday there. Yeah, it's very unnerving. Yeah. But what it's doing is it's basically tracking. There are pixels, there are cookies that are around that are basically tracking you in every move that you're making. Even you're on Myntra, you've logged in, you've selected a few products, but you're not bought. Within seconds, within minutes, there will be a mail coming. Hey, you know what? I think you've forgotten some great stuff in the cart. Why don't you go back and shop? Or if you're not happy with something, let us know. And if that doesn't react, they'll say, hey, you know what? You kept those two things. Today, for the next 2 hours, I'm giving you a 50% off on them if you're going to buy. Yeah. So all of this is being done because today data is available, and this data is obviously data that's in cyberspace. There's also data that's available with the brand, which is things like if somebody has gone registered for a loyalty program or has registered their number with the brand. Now this data is mapped to the consumer's transaction history. So how do I study that? How do I dig deeper? How do I understand and build personas of the customer and use that to communicate? Yeah. So data, remember, data is going to be the source of truth. Yeah, you must be reading it also. Experiences matter. Today, brands are not looking at, while brands will use celebrities and influencers to help build visibility, help reach out to larger audiences and kind of create that credibility. But today, experiences matter, and brands want to give the customers a better experience because they want customers to become the voice of the brand. What was earlier called word of mouth. Word of mouth even today is the largest medium through which products are sold, right? It's not your advertising or not your digital ads, not your Facebook ads. It's all about word of mouth. So how do you take that word of mouth concept and create it into a more friendly mode for the digital world? Yeah. So customer advocacy. How do you create conversation between customers and the brand? This is what brands are doing today. Video is going to become big. especially in this space. It's all about customer journeys. I want to track my customer right from the time even before he or she starts shopping with my brand. And one of the case studies that I want to really highlight here is, you all must have heard this brand called Kia, right? And how the Seltos has become such a big success. What did this brand do for it to become such a success? They were obviously launching a product in a very new segment, but already getting cluttered, where the likes of a Hyundai Creta and a couple of others were already there and very strong, and we were operating in a very and from a position of strength. What did Kia do to come and and I think they launched just about a year ago. They're a little over a year ago, but they are the largest selling in that segment. Anybody want to take guesses as to what they did? Okay, I'll help you out with the answer. I, but so what did Kia do? Kia knew that there's this segment. What they did is, 2 years ago, they brought a team and who came down from Korea and worked with a research agency in India, uh, with a small, the first couple of people who they hired in India. So there was a team of 5 or 6 people along with the research agency. And what they did is they studied the complete market. They understood which were segments that were not as crowded, right? The small hatchbacks were crowded, the sedans were crowded. They found this new, whatever you call this segment, with the Creta and all that operating, say the mini SUVs or whatever you call it, right? That segment they found it to be most lucrative. So even before they started selling the product, they started talking about what they're going to do. So 1 year, so 2018 onward, they started talking about the Kia Seltos, about how there's this brand coming in from Korea, how the Seltos is going to be a game changer, how it's going to be this, how it's going to be that. Yeah. Even before the market got to see it and react to it, they were already creating conversations. They took some people, some pretty big automobile experts and influencers from India, took them to Korea, got them to drive the car. They opened up a plant here. The first car, even before it was the first product that was rolled out, again, those guys came, test drove it, and started talking about it. And this was even a good 6 months before even they launched. With such hype building up, what did people do? They waited. People started waiting. Hey, you know what? They said, we will wait because I think there's a better car coming, or a better, whatever the mini SUV, whatever you call it, coming. And all they had to do, then they started setting up the complete network. They started appointing dealers, they started appointing service stations. So ensure they covered India. What is the biggest problem, key problem statements for people who buy cars in India? They want a good service network, they want a dealer who responds to them, and they want a car that's obviously efficient and obvious and is priced right. They met all the 3 criteria. And they created hype by even speaking about it much earlier than they actually launched. The day they launched, even before they launched, I think pre-booking itself, they had some 10,000 orders or something like that. Yeah. So how do you really look at creating those stories? How do you look at creating the customer journeys? How do you look at mapping the journeys? All of this. Like I said, it's not about segmentation anymore. It's about customer personas. Today, with the amount of information available in the customer, brands are now developing personas. It's about understanding the customer as an individual. What are his likes and dislikes? What time does he come to shop? Where does he, does he shop on a weekday or a weekend? If it's from a store perspective, if it's from a website or e-commerce, does the customer shop during the morning time, afternoon time, or towards the evening time? And because of the footprint that he's leaving on his pages, on his social media pages, What are the kind of habits that he has? What is he saying? What kind of searches is he doing? Going to Google. He's searching for holidays. He's searching for, new mobile phones. He's searching for whatever. Yeah. All of this information is getting gathered, and basis this, customer personas are being built. Retention is a new equation. What I mean here is, if you have a large customer base that's part of your database, if you have a 1 million customer base, today customer acquisition is going to become very, very expensive. Yeah. It has already become expensive. And it's customers, because of certain things that were done maybe about 8-10 years ago, when e-commerce brands use the power of discounting to really start, use discounting to really recruit customers. It was this kind of created a little bit of this thing. So much so that today, unless you offer a customer a great deal, so if you're an new app launching or a new website, you will have to create certain hook mechanisms to pull those customers and get them to come onto your site. So, and if you have built a base, say of 500,000 or even whatever, even 200,000 or 2 lakh customer base, retaining these customers is a challenge, because this customer is obviously being targeted by other brands and competition brands. So what stops from him or her going and shopping elsewhere? So retention is a new equation. Personas are being built. Why? Because you need to understand customers better. So recommendations. How do I get more personal? How do I engage the customer with a lot more relevancy? Is becoming big for brands today. One of the biggest exponents of recommendations are brands like Spotify, Netflix, and Amazon. I think today, in the last 6 months, most of us have experienced these platforms like never before, especially Netflix and Amazon. Yeah. Today, the moment you go onto Netflix and you've watched a few, or you have surfed around and you've watched a few shows, Netflix starts recommending you. And 50% of the viewing that you do are basis recommendation. 30% of Amazon's worldwide business comes from recommendations. And personalization is nothing but, how do I treat my customer like an individual, like I know him, offering, communicating to him with very relevant communication. Loyalty programs are getting revamped. It's no more about just issuing points post-purchase. Today, it's all about instant gratification. It's about collaborating with other brands and offering the customer something more larger, offering more experiences. Points are becoming passé. Yeah. So go back and ask your parents. Some of them may be members of the Shopper Stop program. Ask them how many points do they have in their account. How many reward points of Shopper Stop do they have in account? They will not even know. But if they go to Shopper Stop and Shopper Stop say, hey, you know what? Since you're a privileged customer, here is this little voucher that you can go and go to a salon and get a spa treatment done, because you're a privileged First Citizens customer of Shopper Stop. So that the member will remember. Obviously, mobile and mobility. Mobile is becoming it. Every entire thing is going to be focused about how to target the customer on the mobile. So whether it's through Instagram, whether it's through super apps, whether it's through app notifications, or using things like geofencing and geo-targeting and all that. Mobile phones is going to become the one medium that customers are going to get engaged by. And post-COVID, the focus has come back to ROI, return on investment. Budgets have been slashed. Some brands have lost 80% of budgets, 50% of budgets. So how do you generate similar kind of campaign effectiveness using lesser budgets? So yeah, the face of marketing is changing. So there is change ahead. And I also thought I'll cover some customer trends post-COVID that could also give you some insights. And this is the only part that I picked up from a blog that I read about a couple of days ago. So what customers are saying, make it easy for me. Today, COVID-19 has kind of disrupted a lot of things. Yeah, the existing support system seems to have changed. A lot of things which have gone haywire. So customers really looking for brands who saying how can it make it easy for them? Can brands offer them ultra convenience? I don't want to go out and shop anymore, even for my smallest of grocery items or veggies. Is there a brand who can deliver it home? And if a brand can offer flexibility, added features, and talk to them from a point of empathy, they will reward, they will kind of react to the brand far more favorably. Do it yourself. We all have learned to now start doing things ourselves. Yeah, domestic helps have gone, things have changed. Some people who had cooks don't have those cooks anymore. They have to cook on their own, and there's a lot that one has to do and manage without the constant support and supervision. Even in offices today, you're operating from home. Earlier in offices, where your manager also was there, and there was always that, those team meetings that would happen, and constantly there was somebody who's supervising you because your manager was obviously on your case and would look over your shoulder to check if you're working or no. But today, when you're working out of home, you have to manage things yourself. You have to, get yourself up and say, hey, you know what? No, I have to go. So things are becoming more self. So things that, a brand like IKEA, when they came up with the DIY concept many years ago, today these things are becoming reality. The way we learn, buy, and communicate has changed. Today, you don't need to enroll into an institute. Today, you want to run a very specialized course. There are programs that allow you to do it. Today, you're sitting and listening to possibly this lecture on a video platform. Yeah, maybe if it was pre-COVID, possibly we would have been doing it in class. Yeah, so things have really changed, and we are beginning to do a lot of things for ourselves, even if it's not perfect. So perfection is out. Today, you want things to happen. You want to do it and move out. Even if you cook for yourself, it's okay. Not every time will it taste the best, but you're getting things done. Asynchronous communication. What I mean here is asynchronous obviously is the opposite of synchronicity or being synchronous, but here it is about customers demanding communication at the time that they want it. So a brand has to really, uh, kind of now start mapping basis customer usage and customer behavior. Yeah, and things like if I want my groceries, I'm going to go to a guy who's going to deliver the groceries when I want it, not when the guy wants to deliver it. So I want things on demand. Why is people platforms like Hotstar and Netflix and Amazon Prime suddenly exploded? Obviously, without multiplexes today, I have a choice. I can watch the shows I want. I can watch the movies I want, and it's available when I want it. Right. So this communication really is becoming asynchronous. It's no more synchronized. Today, brands are really trying to talk to. You're expecting the brand to talk to you as an individual. More of marketing, less of sales. With people at home today, even meetings are being held on via video platforms. While it is very specific. Also, what I maybe I should have stated this in the beginning, but what I'm talking about is very generic to marketing. I never really specified whether it's B2B marketing or B2C. Well, yes, it is skewed towards B2C, but some of it can also apply to B2B marketing. Yeah. And more of marketing, less of sales specifically applies to B2B and in some way also to B2C. Today, earlier, how would in a B2B case, how would sales happen, especially of say some very capital equipment or some technology? A sales guy the tech company would go sit with the CIO, discuss, show him product brochures, show him a presentation, take him through a demo and stuff like that. But here now, what's happening post COVID? The CIO is getting his team to search for information basis what they need. One of the biggest things that COVID impacted brands was brands were anyway thinking of going digital and doing digital transformation. When I say digital, it's not about digital marketing, but but actually implementing digital transformation. And they all had said by 2022, 2023 is when they would kind of time themselves. But today, because of COVID, the entire thing has just accelerated. People have scrapped those timelines and said, now we need to do it now. Why? Because consumers are changing. So then how will this brands do? Today, do you have the opportunity to go and sit in the client's office? No, things are not. You can't even travel, right? And people obviously are scared. There's fear to go out and sit in the client's office. So those brands start doing research and understanding what kind of solutions they need, and then start reaching out. So which means that brands need to do more of marketing. B2B brands obviously will look at platforms like LinkedIn and others to kind of push their brand messaging. B2C customers also are moving digital, who never even looked at digital earlier, are now today moving and creating content on Instagram, content on Facebook, and content on other platforms to kind of reach to their customers. Mainline papers have said, okay, fine, I know papers sales have gone, so pick up subscriptions on sites or on my news app, which can then help act as advertising mediums also. Space utilization. People working from home, obviously office space is not required. Today gyms are not working not operational like the way they used to be. So whether it's your restaurants or gyms or whatever, yeah, things are becoming more different. Space is now being utilized very differently, and customers are not willing to go back and pay. So if you know about this health platform called Cult, today it's completely online. Obviously, the gyms have now opened up, so Cult is offering some options at the centers, but for the last 4-5 months, they did completely everything online. So even if you want to go back to Cult, you will not pay the same old charges that you had earlier. You will obviously say, why should I do that? Yeah. So reimagination is not really means it's not doing marketing in a traditional way. Traditional way is gone, and I had to, the good thing for you all is you all don't have any legacy. You're coming in fresh. You're coming into a zone in either where marketing itself is completely changed. Yeah, but it's important that I cover a little bit of the earlier part of it, because you will be working with people who've been and seen and done that earlier, right? So there'll be a lot of legacy that they will be bringing. So it's important for you all to understand and respect that. So what does it really mean for you? Obviously, yes, things are moving from brand to business, from product centric to platform centric, and from being product focused to being more customer focused. Yeah? The role of the marketer really has changed. Yes, everything is digital. Tech is the catalyst. Everything is going to be technology driven. Marketing has become a technology powered discipline, and it's leading to a rise of new kinds of marketing professionals. 3 years ago, there was this term called CMTO. CMOs, Chief Marketing Officer, started getting designated as Chief Marketing Technical Officers. This is about 4 years ago. 2 years ago, they said, no, it's not only about technology, it's all about customer experience. So it all became about customer experience officer, CXOs. But today, it's the birth of the growth officer, because of the data availability, because you're going to do a lot of data or use a lot of data to drive insights and create those engagement programs. It is about growing business. Today, marketers are not just brand custodians, but marketers are responsible for growing business. So marketers, I think, going forward will be called growth officers or chief business officers or whatever. So as from a career perspective, just don't look at joining brands. Just don't look at joining very settled brands. Look at joining MarTech companies or startups. There's a lot of cutting edge work that's being done. And keep in mind this, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Follow this principle every moment of the day. What you have studied in college, and when you go out in the corporate world, you'll have to it's a completely new experience. There are a lot that you'll have to unlearn, because reality is something else. Yeah, I know we all know what the 4 P's are. Yeah, then there's 7 P's and 8 P's and whatever. But I think today the 4 P's literally are irrelevant. I think it's about the 4 E's. It's all about empathy. It's about customer experience. It's about how do you engage with the customer and then evaluating those engagements and bettering them. Just to give you a perspective of how the digital footprint is around the world has maybe about 7.8, 7.9 in November. This is October data, so it's pretty recent. 7.81 billion is the total world population, of which 5.2 billion use mobile phones, and these are unique users. 4.6 billion are internet users, and 4.14 billion use social media. So we look at the kind of penetration that's there. If there are 4.6 billion internet users, which is 60% of the population, this number is growing at about 7.4%. Average amount of time per day spent using the internet by each internet user is close to about 7 hours, which is practically 30% of the day. Internet 7 hours, using social media is about 2.5 hours, watching TV is 3.5 hours, listening to things like Spotify is an hour and a half, gaming is a little over an hour. Yeah. So world, please remember the world obviously is indeed flat. If you have not read this book, please read this. It's a fantastic book. So make it your playground. Yeah. Thank you. So I'm open to questions. Please to go ahead and ask.
Sir,
Yeah.
good evening. My name is Sadhana.
Yeah, Pamela. Hi.
Sir, between artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, which one do you think is more prominent currently, sir?
Okay. Internet of Things is nothing but it's a platform or a technology that allows. Okay, let me explain it to you. Now, there's a coffee vending machine that people use in an office, right? Now, usually these coffee vending machines are kept in a corner where people go and fill it up. Earlier, when it was a manual machine, there would be somebody who would come and keep checking on it every 3 hours once to see if the water is what needs to be replenished, or the milk has to be put in, or the coffee beans have to put in, whatever. Yeah. With Internet of Things, what really it does is the machine has become more intelligent. The moment the level of milk or the water in the coffee bean starts going down, it sends an alert to whoever. So that person comes and quickly. This is one application of Internet of Things, right? Now the technology that's used is AI. So it's not different. AI is going to be going to be the backbone technology. The backbone technology is going to be in everything. So even in a concept like Internet of Things, people are going to use AI to really study. So you want more data of what's coming out from the coffee machine. How many times it's used? What time is it going to? What times is it going to be used most? Yeah. How many cups of coffee? How many cups of tea? Whatever. Right. And I'm just trying to give you an example. So all of this understanding comes through AI, and AI is inbuilt into Internet of Things. So it's not separate. It's not two different things.
Okay, sir.
IoT is only going to make machines far more intelligent and get connected to the web. So today you're going to have refrigerators, you're going to have dishwashers, you're going to have smart TVs, which is so that's where Internet of Things comes in.
Thank you, sir.
So today, if you buy, yeah.
Yes, any other questions, students? So please fill the feedback information in the link which is provided. So any other question you can just ask.
I have one question that I want to ask. So when you all came to this talk or whatever, this orientation session, is there something that you all had in mind? Or is there something that you all wanted to listen to? Can you help me understand that? It'll help because in my future sessions, it'll kind of.
Sir, I don't think
Is there something in particular that
I don't think they were having
Sorry?
something in their mind because they continuously keep on attending
Okay.
a lot of sessions.
Okay. So they came with an open mind basically. So
Yeah,
they
open
didn't
mind.
have something that. Yeah.
I don't think any other questions.
Okay, that's good.
Further questions, sir. So I thank
Okay,
you, sir,
fine.
really for your valuable inputs regarding this business functions and trends
So
related to marketing.
pleasure's mine.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure's mine. I only hope it added value to the students.
Yes, sir. It was an
All right.
great
Thank you.
value addition. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you.